only reason why you don't have drug treatment as a part of your conditions is because you told me you didn't have a drug problem. And the other thing I do know, and there are plenty of commercials out there, if people have a gambling problem, guess what? They put up there the 1-800 number. And if you had a gambling problem, all you had to do was pick up the phone and call your probation officer. And I tell everybody that who's on probation, because I take no pleasure in revoking people, sending people to prison. I put people on probation because I think you're going to be successful at it, and I hope you will be. If I thought, and I had a crystal ball, and if this were the Minority Report where I had pre-COVID, I would be like, pre-cogs are saying you're not going to do well on probation, you're going to violate, so I'm not giving you probation. But I gave you a chance.
Enjoy the video. Hit the like button.
State of Texas versus Daniel Mercado. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Hunter Morris.
For the defense?
Abelardo Garza.
And are you Daniel Mercado?
Yes, Your Honor.
And how do you pronounce your first name? Because that's a different spelling. It's spelled Danyll.
It is pronounced Daniel. It's just
all right. Charged with by information is evading arrest or detention vehicle. That's a third-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea bargain agreement. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea bargain agreement and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand? All right, after reviewing State's Exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, we'd ask the court to just follow the agreement.
Mr. Mercado, are you employed?
Yes, Your Honor.
What do you do?
I do handyman work for Mr. Navarro and for Tony Campos. Like construction, as far as they flip houses. So I do remodeling, curb appeal, landscaping.
Do you have any children?
No, Your Honor.
Have you ever used any type of drugs?
Years ago.
And what was that?
I had a cocaine addiction, but I got help for that when I worked for Pepsi, and I had really great insurance, and they ended up putting me on Vyvanse, which taught me how to not do it anymore.
Why did you stop working for Pepsi?
It was that time when I had that drug problem or whatnot, and then I just ended up stopping working for them. However, you know what? I'm doing okay. You know, the handyman work. I do plan to, start my own business. I had a business which was biowash services. It's kind of gave me an eye opener. I'm very smart. I just made some wrong choices during this pandemic, and
well, I saw where you were living in your car.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking accountability for what I've got to do now.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. Sentence you to 3 years in the prison, suspended and probated for 3 years, $1,500 fine, probated. Take in consideration 2021 CR 3940, CM number 83530, County Court Cause number 656440, JN number 1996520, restitution, if any, and cause number CM 83530 / SAPD number 210-43607, and that's to AT&T. To restitution, if any, to Enterprise in 2021 CR 3940, 120 hours of community service restitution. If you take the COVID vaccine and complete the protocol, then the court will waive 40 hours. For the record, so it can be clear, I'm not forcing anyone to take the COVID vaccine, but if you do, you'll receive credit for that as a deduction in your community service hours. The MRT program, are you able to report by Zoom, Mr. Mercado?
Absolutely.
All right, regular Zoom reporting. If something happens and you're not able to report by Zoom, you need to do it in person. We'll do regular UAs. and a random field visit one time per month.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Mr. Mercado, is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful on this probation?
I will advise the court if something does come up, and I'll advise my probation officer if something does come up. I'm at an age to where I'm old already, and I don't need to be. So I think I'll be successful, and I appreciate you offering, and I will accept that offer if something does arise.
All right, thank you. Rebecca, is there anything else that you think he needs?
Were you going to do the proof of employment?
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to do proof of employment. And are you Mr. Mercado?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to show you two documents. The one is entitled Motion to Revoke Community Supervision. The next is First Amendment Motion to Revoke Community Supervision. Did you review those documents with your attorney and did you understand them?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Are you the same Daniel Mercado who was placed on community supervision in 2021 CR 7975W for the offense of evading arrest, detention with a vehicle?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right, state.
Yes, Judge, violated condition number 1 on or about the 15th day of April 2022 in Bexar County, Texas. The defendant, Daniel Mercado, committed the offense of possession of controlled substance, PG1, in violation of condition number 1.
How do you plead to that, true or not true?
True.
Violated condition number 1 on or about the 15th day of April 2022 in Bexar County, Texas. The defendant, Daniel Mercado, committed the offense of tampering government records in violation of condition number 1.
How do you plead to that, true or not true?
True.
We'll waive all other violations.
Any objection to the state's waivers?
No.
Mr. Mercado, did you understand by pleading true to violation conditions 1 and 1, court could find it true, grant the motion, and sentence you up to 3 years in prison and up to a $1,500 fine? Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violations of conditions 1 and 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find 1 and 1 true. Is there an agreement?
No, Judge, the state has a recommendation.
State, what are you requesting?
We're asking that you revoke his probation and sentence him to 2 years in PDC.
Defense?
Your Honor, Mr. Ricardo wanted to address the court.
All right, Mr. Mercado, that means that you'll be placed under oath and subject to a cross-examination. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Knowing that, do you still wish to speak to the court?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, if you could raise your right hand for me, please. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
You can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Daniel Mercado.
All right, defense?
Are you descendant of Mercado who was placed on probation in this court?
Yes,
Okay, what were you placed on probation for?
for evading arrest with the motor vehicle.
Did you report to the probation officer's orders?
No, I didn't.
Did you do anything that would allow one to say that you're beginning to comply with the conditions of probation that had been ordered when you were sentenced?
Since then, I've had.
Not since then?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So you just blew up going to probation, is that right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Do you want to explain to the judge what happened and why you did that?
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, when I got out on probation, I wasn't in a stable situation. I needed help. I have a gambling addiction, and the gambling addiction is really, really bad. Drugs are there when it's there. I've already kicked the habit of cocaine and drinking. I have never really had help, for substance abuse or gambling, which there's not much of. But when I did have help for the cocaine through a psychiatrist and psychologist, I kicked that habit. I kicked my drinking habit when I had got my second DWI. I know that with help, I can overcome and succeed and be a productive citizen by overcoming my addiction of gambling, which led to the possession of the drugs. I just would hope that the court sees that and gets me help as opposed to sending me to prison. I'd be willing to go on intensive supervision. I do have a support system in place now since reflecting, and I've enrolled in drug classes and let the counselors know in the jail that my real addiction is gambling, and they've given me a bunch of resources for it. I'm not looking to shy away from. I'm taking responsibility for what I have, but I really want help. I even asked our officers for help for that. So if I can get the help, wonderful. If I still go to prison, you know what? I thank you, but I just would like to try to get to know.
All right, anything else?
Just a brief argument.
All right, state any questions?
No, Judge.
All right, so Mr. Mercado, as you know, from being in this court, whatever anybody has a problem with, I always ask them, is there anything else when I place them on probation? Is there anything else you need? Let me know. And what I can tell you is when you were placed on probation in this court on August 31st, because I write everything down, and they wanted the MRT course, which is to teach you right from wrong and whatever you need, regular UAs. I did field visits. And the reason, if you didn't have a drug treatment in here, the reason why you didn't have it is because you didn't tell me that you had a drug treatment. And I know, I always ask people, is there a drug issue? If you're drug tested today, what the result's going to be. So you didn't tell the court you had a drug problem. So I won't say like, I don't appreciate when people come before me and they act as though help has not been given, or that I have not, or the court has not tried to give help. Because the only reason why you don't have drug treatment as a part of your conditions is because you told me you didn't have a drug problem. And the other thing I do know, and there are plenty of commercials out there, if people have a gambling problem, guess what? They put up there the 1-800 number. And if you had a gambling problem, all you had to do was pick up the phone and call your probation officer. And I tell everybody that who's on probation, because I take no pleasure in revoking people, sending people to prison. I put people on probation because I think you're going to be successful at it, and I hope you will be. If I thought, and I had a crystal ball, and if this were the minority report where I had pre-COVID, I would be like, pre-cogs are saying, you're not going to do well on probation, you're going to violate, so I'm not giving you probation. But I gave you a chance with probation, and you had all of these conditions, and based upon the questions from your attorney, you did nothing. So now you're just here before me saying, I have these problems that you've never admitted before. And you come before me and you're on probation for evading, you come before me and you pick up 2 new cases. So, I mean, that's where we are. All right, I'll hear argument.
Yes, Judge, based on the fact that he was placed on probation in August of last year and picked up these new offenses just a few months later, that's why we would ask that you revoke his probation and sentence him to 2 years.
There's a notice to state, and I say this respectfully, is only asking for the same 2 years they were asking for before. But I did want to bring to the court's attention and highlight for him that this is the first time this man has apparently asked anyone for help. He said, I have a problem. He knows if he doesn't get help, he's going to come back before this court, if not in front of some other tribunal, and have to deal with whatever his problems are then. And he looked at me and I told him about my problems. And he looked at me and said, I'm ready to step up and see what can be done to help me or what I can do to help myself. That's why I stood here with him while he asked the court to consider getting him treated for this problem as opposed to just sentencing.
All right, so you want to be truthful with the court as far as this is the first time you're saying you have a drug problem?
It's the drug problem. It comes with the addiction problem of gambling. You know,
all right, you want to admit to the court that this is the first time you're saying you have a gambling problem? I didn't tell the court last time. You're absolutely right. I did not tell the court last time. And, you know, I didn't have the support system. And I failed to let the court know and about that. And when I initially missed probation in the beginning because I wasn't stable, you know what, it was hard for me to kind of turn back, but I started getting steps of getting a good job. But I just with being on the run, you know, I just didn't know where to go. And then getting locked up in here, you know, I've had time to reflect and know that, yes, I did wrong. And I wanted, that's why I enrolled in classes for drug treatment and whatnot, without knowing what's going to happen here, you know, and I'm not doing it to benefit. I'm doing it to try to benefit myself, not to get out of a sentence or go into prison or whatnot. I want to benefit myself and change drugs. I'm 46 years old, and I've tried to say that I can, you know, balance the drugs and the good life and this and that. And it's never worked for me, you know what? And it's not going to work for me again unless I get treatment. You know what? That's my thing is I need to abstain from alcohol and drugs. And it's not, I can't do a little bit here, do a little bit there, and I'm working. It's not going to work for me. I'm going to be back in front of you if I continue to do on that path.
If I may. So you're telling the judge, this is the first time you've gone before any tribunal and admitted that you have an alcohol and drug problem and you are asking for help.
Yes, yes, I am asking.
And before this hearing, I told you, did I not, that that help may not involve going back to mama's house or wherever you're headed. You may have to go to a facility or you may go to prison. You were given that information
Yes, sir.
and you chose to continue to follow this path.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. That's all.
All right. Any other questions or just argument?
No, Judge, just like the defendant said, he never reported to probation, which is why we're asking you to sentence him.
All right. You can have a choice. Either way, you're going to a lockdown facility. You can either go to safety and I'll explain to you with safety. That's a 9-month program. You're gonna be in lockdown and there's a waiting list for that. And then you'll be back on probation, or either the state is offering you the minimum, which is 2 years. All right. So the court is going to grant the motion, revoke, sentence you to 2 years in the prison. There's a $1,500 fine, time and money to run concurrent. Give you credit for any time served. And probation, did he pay restitution? Well, I'm assuming he did not. So there's restitution to AT&T. Do we know how much the restitution was? Does anyone know?
To AT&T?
Your Honor, it didn't have it in the probation files on if it was ever determined.
All right, any restitution to Enterprise? Does anyone know the amount for that? And that was from cause number 2021 CR 3940 that was taken in consideration. And the restitution to AT&T was from CM 83530 that was taken in consideration.
No, Judge, it doesn't look like it ever got a value.
All right. Then the court will sentence you, as previously stated, to 2 years in the prison, $1,500 fine, time and money run concurrent, give you credit for any time served. If you want, they have what's called the therapeutic community. At the therapeutic community, if you're accepted, they will address whatever issues you may have.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And
All right.
Judge,
Yes.
with his plea of true to the new number ones, we did agree to TIC those.
Okay.
It's gonna be night mag 657-536 and county court cause number 683-020.
657-536
Yes, ma'am.
and 683-020.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. All right, and I will request the therapeutic community. They're not going to give you the therapeutic community if you don't ask for it, and then they still may not give it to you. So it'll be completely up to you whether they start the process. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'm showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have a limited right to appeal, and that right to appeal is not the fact that you are on probation, but the right to appeal as far as the allegations in the motion. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Thank you.